The moment you see them, your twin flame, everything changes. It's not the casual glance between strangers or a fleeting recognition. No, this is different. It's deeper, more intense. Your heart skips a beat, your breath catches in your throat, and for a split second, you realize something you've never fully understood. Your soul recognizes theirs. But here's the twist. While your heart is racing, your mind is running 1,000,000 miles an hour, screaming for escape. The pull is overwhelming, the connection undeniable, but fear takes over. It's as though a part of you knows the depth of this bond, but another part is terrified of what it could mean. The runner feels it too, the confusion, the urgency, but they're caught between love and fear, a battle no one else can see. So they run. Not because they don't care, not because they don't want to feel it, but because facing it feels like a force far too strong to resist. What happens in those moments when they're face to face with you? The emotions, the intensity. It's not what you think. In this video, we're diving deep into the 9 things you've never been told about what the twin flame runner truly feels when they meet you. This is the hidden truth of their heart, the side of the story that's often left out, misunderstood, or brushed aside. If you're ready to see the runner's side in a whole new light, stick with me. What you're about to hear will change everything you thought you knew about twin flames. Phase 1. Silent struggle of the runner. The twin flame journey isn't just about meeting someone who feels like home. It's about the quiet war within, the constant tug-of-war between the soul's undeniable pull and the heart's instinct to flee. The twin flame runner knows this well. Imagine standing face to face with the very soul you've been searching for, yet your feet move in the opposite direction. It's not rejection, it's fear. The runner feels the connection deeply, more than words can capture, yet that very closeness, that very recognition, sends waves of vulnerability crashing against their defenses. This isn't a simple attraction. It's an overwhelming force, a gravitational pull that awakens something ancient and deeply primal within the runner. It's the realization that meeting their twin flame means everything in their world will shift, forever. The ego, with its sharp edges, rises, shielding them from the intensity of this love, convincing them that they are not ready, not strong enough to surrender. It's like standing at the edge of a cliff. You can see the vast beauty below, the promise of freedom and wholeness, but the height, the unknown, terrifies you. You take a step back, and then another, not because you don't want to jump, but because the fear of falling is louder than the call of the wind. In the world of twin flames, it's the divine masculine who often feels this struggle the most. I've seen it, felt it, like a rush of cold water hitting my chest, knowing that the love in front of me is everything I've wanted, but also everything I've been avoiding. It's the silent battle that plays out in their heart, even when they want to move forward, even when they know they can't go back. The truth is, the runner doesn't run because they don't care. They run because they need time to face what they can no longer ignore. And when that time comes, the next step isn't just a leap. It's a surrender, one the runner must make on their own. Phase 2. Hearts whisper verses. Minds roar. A soul longs for unity, yet the mind insists on protecting what it fears. The divine masculine, caught between these two forces, stands at the crossroads of his heart's silent cry for union and the thunderous storm of his thoughts that scream for distance. The pull toward his twin is undeniable. He feels it in his bones, a deep ache that calls to him like a distant melody. But when his mind enters the scene, it creates a cacophony of doubts, questions, and fears, drowning out the soft whispers of his heart. This is where the twin flame runner finds himself, torn between two worlds. The heart knows the truth of a bond that stretches beyond time and space. It knows the connection is deep, destined, unbreakable. Yet the mind is filled with barriers, fears of vulnerability, doubts of self-worth, memories of past hurts. Each thought is a wall, a fortress built to keep the heart safe from what it doesn't understand. I've lived this struggle. There was a time when I felt the pull of my twin, stronger than any force I had ever known. My heart wanted to dive in, to let go, but my mind was filled with resistance, fears of being too vulnerable, of getting hurt, of losing myself in someone else. It's like standing on the edge of the ocean, feeling the pull of the tide, knowing you're meant to dive in, but hearing the voice of caution telling you to stay on the shore. It's that moment of hesitation that turns into retreat, a retreat that is not out of apathy, but fear. The divine masculine knows this internal struggle intimately. It is the dance between surrender and self-protection, a dance that can only resolve when the mind finally quiets and the heart takes the lead. This inner conflict is the space where growth happens, and just as the storm passes, so too does the runner's retreat, leaving space for something beautiful to unfold. Phase 3. Soul's recognition. The moment their eyes meet, the divine masculine feels it, the undeniable recognition, as though something ancient within him stirs awake. It's not just a glance, it's a soul calling out to its counterpart, a pull so deep it shakes him to his core. In that instant, his soul knows, even if his mind struggles to catch up. There is no confusion in the depths of his being. He knows who she is. And yet, as the awareness floods through him, so does the weight of fear and doubt. This is where the twin flame journey begins, the paradox of recognition. The heart knows, but the mind is overwhelmed. Suddenly, everything changes. The divine masculine feels the pull, stronger than anything he's ever experienced. It's like a magnet that draws him in, pulling him toward her, but then fear wraps its icy fingers around his heart. He can't breathe, can't think straight. What does this mean? How can something so intense be real? In these moments, the flood of emotions that follows the recognition can be suffocating. The divine masculine might feel both ecstatic and terrified, like standing at the edge of a cliff. The heart wants to jump, to dive in, but the mind hesitates, gripped by a fear of losing control or being hurt. He might even pull away, retreating from the overwhelming force of the connection, unsure of how to move forward. The recognition is undeniable, but the journey of understanding it, of surrendering to it, is something that takes time. The soul's recognition is profound, but it often triggers a retreat, a pause. This space is needed for the divine masculine to process the intensity of what he feels, to reconcile the knowledge in his soul with the fear in his mind. Only when he's ready to surrender fully does the journey truly begin. Phase 4. Energetic overload. When the divine masculine stands before his twin flame, something shifts within him. It's as though his very essence is lit on fire, the energy between them sparking a surge that he can neither control nor comprehend. His heart pounds in his chest, his breath quickens, and his hands tremble. It's not just the physical proximity, it's the force of the connection. Every cell in his body awakens. Every nerve ending is alive with the recognition of something deeper, something profound. But with this awakening comes a sense of chaos, a flood of energy that he doesn't know how to channel. In moments like these, the body doesn't lie. The divine masculine might feel an urgent need to run, not because he wants to escape the connection, but because it is simply too overwhelming. He feels like he is standing at the edge of an abyss, his soul wanting to leap, but his body filled with resistance. The energy that surges through him feels like an electric storm, unpredictable and all-consuming. His instinct is to retreat, to find a safe place away from the intensity, yet the pull toward her remains unyielding. I remember experiencing this myself, standing before someone who made my heart race without a single word spoken. The moment our energies collided, my palms became drenched in sweat, and my breath was stolen. I felt as though my body was on fire, and yet the urge to run was stronger than anything I'd ever known. It was the energy of recognition, so pure, so raw, that it left me both mesmerized and terrified. This is the energetic overload that the twin flame runner faces. It's an experience that can't be explained, only felt. If you've had a similar experience, share your story in the comments. You're not alone in this journey. Phase 5. Unhealed Wounds. The Divine Masculine stands before his twin flame, feeling a pull so undeniable, so deep, it cuts through everything. But in that same instant, something else surfaces. Old memories, past betrayals, wounds that have never quite healed. The connection is powerful, but so is the fear of what it might awaken. Beneath the surface, unresolved pain whispers, "Don't get too close. Don't trust. Don't surrender." I've felt this myself. There's a kind of rawness when you meet someone who mirrors everything you've ever wanted, yet at the same time, it feels like staring into a mirror of everything you've avoided. The twin flame connection, as beautiful as it is, brings up every scar, every fear, and every ounce of emotional armor you've built around yourself over the years. It's almost like being caught between two worlds, the longing for union and the deep-seated fear that the connection will only lead to more pain. I remember a time when my soul ached to open up to someone, but my past, relationships that ended in betrayal, moments of abandonment, held me back. Each time the connection felt real, the old wounds began to throb, as if my heart remembered the hurt before my mind could. It was like stepping into a whirlwind of emotions, wanting to let go but feeling my past pulling me back, telling me, "You've been hurt before, don't go there again." The truth is, the Divine Masculine doesn't run because he doesn't care. He runs because he fears the vulnerability that love demands. The wounds from the past make it hard to trust that this love will be different, that it won't bring the same pain. But deep down, he knows that healing is the only way forward, and only when he's ready to face these wounds will he be able to truly embrace the love that his twin flame offers. Phase 6. Fear of total surrender. A moment of undeniable connection, yet the Divine Masculine stands still, heart racing, caught between the desire to embrace and the fear of losing himself. To surrender fully feels like releasing control, and that's a risk he isn't sure he's ready to take. The twin flame bond pulls him deeper, urging him to open up, to surrender to the love that is both healing and terrifying. But beneath this desire for union, there's a storm brewing. The Divine Masculine feels like a man on the edge of a cliff, ready to leap but terrified of falling. Surrender isn't just about trust. It's about giving away pieces of himself that he's spent years guarding. And in that moment, the fear whispers louder than the love. What will be left of me if I give everything? I felt this myself, standing before someone who mirrored my every fear and desire. The connection was real, undeniable, and yet, with every inch closer, my heart clenched with resistance. The more I felt drawn to her, the more I wanted to pull away. The idea of being fully vulnerable, of showing her the parts of me that were hidden, felt overwhelming. It wasn't about not wanting the love. It was about not knowing who I would be once I fully surrendered to it. This fear of losing control is something many Divine Masculines know intimately. The idea of merging completely with another, of surrendering so deeply, creates an internal conflict. He desires the union, yet the thought of completely losing himself in it feels like stepping into the unknown. It's in that resistance, that reluctance, that growth happens. The real journey begins when the Divine Masculine chooses to let go, even if it feels like he's walking into the storm. Only when he allows himself to release the need for control, to step into vulnerability, can he truly experience the depth of the twin flame connection. The fear doesn't disappear, but it becomes part of the journey, a journey that leads to a deeper, more authentic union. Phase 7. Separation as spiritual growth. The space between them is not empty. It is filled with purpose, growth, and healing. When the Divine Masculine feels the distance between himself and his twin flame, It is easy to fall into the belief that the separation is a form of punishment. But in truth, this distance is a crucible, a place where both souls are forged and refined. It is here that the divine masculine must face his deepest fears, confront old wounds, and do the work that is necessary to step into the union with the divine feminine. I know this feeling all too well. There was a time in my journey when the space between me and my twin felt unbearable. I longed to close the gap, to feel the connection that I knew was there, yet every step closer seemed to trigger resistance. But as time passed, I realized that the separation was not cruel. It was an invitation to heal what I had ignored for so long. The wounds I had carried from past relationships, the fears of being truly seen, all began to surface. At first, it felt overwhelming, like a weight I couldn't shake. But as I embraced the process, I began to see how essential this time apart was for my growth. Without it, I would have remained stagnant, unable to fully experience the depth of the love I was meant to share with her. Separation gives the divine masculine the space to evolve. It is in this space that he can come to terms with his vulnerabilities, face his fears, and rebuild himself into the version of himself who is truly ready to meet his divine feminine. And when the time for reunion comes, it is not just a reunion of two souls, but of two healed, whole beings who are now ready to fully surrender to the love that has always been there. Phase 8. Invisible Spiritual Bond. A connection that can't be seen, but is felt in every breath. This is the invisible bond that keeps the divine masculine tethered to his twin flame, no matter how far apart they may seem. The space between them may feel vast, but the invisible threads that bind the divine masculine to his twin flame are never broken. Even in physical distance, the spiritual connection remains as constant as the pulse of the earth beneath our feet. It is a bond so deep, so sacred, that neither time nor separation can sever it. The divine masculine may feel the pull without understanding it fully, but in his soul, he knows. The connection is always there, guiding him, quietly leading him back to her. I felt this pull myself, in moments when miles and circumstances stood between me and my twin. There were times I thought I had moved on, convinced myself that distance had weakened the bond. But then, without warning, something would stir within me, an ache, a thought, a memory that reminded me of her. It wasn't just a fleeting feeling, it was a force, a silent tug I couldn't ignore. I didn't need to see her or even speak to her. I felt her. In the quiet moments when everything was still, the bond was the loudest thing in my life. This invisible spiritual bond is the heartbeat of the twin flame journey. Even when they are apart, the souls are still intertwined, communicating through energy rather than words. The divine masculine might resist this truth, burying his emotions under layers of doubt or fear, but the pull is always there, waiting. No matter how far the distance, no matter how long the time apart, the connection cannot be denied. And so, the journey continues, with both souls, unknowingly or not, constantly drawn back to each other. Because at the end of it all, the invisible spiritual bond is the one truth that will always bring them home. Phase 9. The Awakening of the Runner. A crack appears in the walls the divine masculine has built around his heart, as if the very act of resisting has worn him down. The first signs of awakening are subtle, soft whispers beneath the noise of fear and doubt. It's not a sudden shift, but a gradual unfolding of the soul, one that leads him closer to the twin flame he once ran from. The awakening of the runner is not a single moment, but a quiet evolution, where the heart begins to trust, to heal, and to feel the love it once resisted so fiercely. I remember the first stirrings of this change. After years of running, after burying the connection under layers of excuses and distractions, I felt a shift I couldn't ignore. It was like something deep inside me began to soften. The walls that had kept me safe, yet isolated, started to crack open, allowing feelings I'd been avoiding to come to the surface. I wasn't ready for full surrender, but I could feel the pull back toward her. I began to understand the connection, not as a threat, but as a force that could heal, not hurt. This awakening is the divine masculine's journey toward self-awareness. As he begins to heal past wounds, he becomes more attuned to his own emotions, allowing vulnerability to take root where once there was only fear. Slowly, he starts to see his twin flame not as something to run from, but as someone who reflects the love, strength, and growth he has longed for in himself. The divine masculine is now preparing, whether consciously or not, to reunite with the divine feminine. This emotional softening is the first step toward the reunion that, deep down, he knows is inevitable. With this awakening comes hope. Hope that the connection can be healed, hope that love can truly be embraced without fear. The journey is not over, but it's beginning again, with a new foundation of openness and understanding. The twin flame journey is not a race, nor is it a path marked by easy answers. It is a sacred unfolding, a dance between love and fear, surrender and resistance. Every step you take, every moment of doubt, is part of the deeper story, one that, even in its silence, holds the promise of reunion. In this space between hearts, remember that the connection you feel is never lost. It may be hidden, clouded by fears or past wounds, but it is always there, quietly pulling you both toward each other. The divine masculine and divine feminine may travel their separate paths, but their souls are forever intertwined. As you continue your journey, take a moment to breathe in the power of that connection. Trust in the unfolding process, and know that every step, no matter how uncertain, is a step closer to the truth of your union. If you resonate with this journey and feel the pull toward understanding even deeper, subscribe and hit the bell so we can continue to walk this path together. Each new video is another step toward clarity and healing, another piece of the puzzle that will bring you closer to the love that is waiting for you. Stay with me as we explore the next chapters, because this journey isn't just about finding your twin flame. It's about finding yourself, too. Thank you for being here. You are not alone in this.